Shadow of the Empire. The Meridian Collective had ruled the stars for 15,000 years. Their sleek biomechanical vessels, living ships that melded synthetic materials with genetically engineered organisms, carved through space with predatory grace. These ancient conquerors had subjugated over 700 species across 3 spiral arms of the galaxy, creating the most expansive empire the cosmos had ever witnessed. High Commander Vex now stood on the command platform of the Eternal Dominion, flagship of the Meridian Fleet. His tall, slender form cast elongated shadows across the pulsing, organic floor of the bridge. The iridescent plates covering his exoskeleton shimmered with subtle blues and purples as he studied the holographic projection of a small, unassuming blue-green planet. "This is the source of the unusual transmissions," he asked, his multi-tone voice resonating through specialized chambers in his throat. Strategic Overseer Thraxa moved forward, her lighter-colored exoskeleton marking her as from the analytical caste. "Yes, High Commander. The natives call it Earth, a water-rich world with a nitrogen-oxygen atmosphere. The dominant species has developed rudimentary space travel, but hasn't established colonies beyond their natural satellite." Vexnal's compound eyes shifted, focusing on different aspects of the hologram simultaneously. "Assess their threat potential." "Minimal," Thraxa replied without hesitation. "Their weapons employ primitive chemical propellants and crude nuclear fission. Their most advanced computing systems are silicon-based binary processors. They've yet to discover quantum entanglement communication or faster-than-light travel. And yet," Vexnal mused, "their transmissions contain mathematical sequences that suggest theoretical knowledge of dimensional physics beyond their apparent technological level." Thraxa's antennae twitched, a sign of mild discomfort. "An anomaly. Perhaps they've had contact with a more advanced species." "Unlikely. We maintain surveillance throughout this sector. No established spacefaring civilization has approached this system in over 300 cycles." Vexnal circled the hologram, mandibles clicking thoughtfully. "How many acquisition vessels would be required for standard protocol?" "One would be sufficient for a civilization of this development stage," Thraxa calculated. "However, given the population size, approximately 8 billion individuals, 3 vessels would align with standard protocols." Vexnal gestured with a clawed appendage, and the hologram expanded to show the solar system. "Dispatch 3 acquisition vessels. Standard procedure. Offer submission or eradication. I want detailed biological and technological assessments. This species may have potential as laborers for the crystal mines on Draxus IV." "It will be done, High Commander." The conquest of Earth should have been another unremarkable addition to the Meridian archive of subjugated worlds. It wasn't. The first Meridian acquisition vessel entered Earth's atmosphere over the South Pacific Ocean, its massive form displacing enough air to trigger tsunami warnings across coastal regions. The humans' response surprised the Meridian commanders, not with panic, but with coordinated precision. Before the ship could deploy its atmospheric stabilizers, a barrage of missiles launched from submarines hidden in the ocean depths below. The Meridian shields easily deflected the primitive weapons, as expected. But these missiles weren't intended to penetrate the shields. They detonated in carefully calculated patterns around the ship, creating electromagnetic disruptions that temporarily interfered with the vessel's sensor arrays. In those brief moments of sensor blindness, stealth aircraft launched specialized warheads directly against specific external nodes on the ship's hull. These weren't simple explosives, but contained nanites specifically designed to interfere with the biomechanical systems that powered Meridian technology. The acquisition vessel didn't explode in a spectacular fireball. Instead, it began to list as its systems failed section by section. The ship crashed into the ocean, its crew unable to prevent the catastrophic systems failure. When the Meridians recovered their surviving crew members, they made a shocking discovery. The humans had somehow targeted the precise vulnerabilities in their living ships, suggesting detailed knowledge of Meridian technology that they couldn't possibly possess. Strategic Overseer Thraxa's exoskeleton had paled significantly as she delivered the news to High Commander Vexnall. The loss of an acquisition vessel was unprecedented in modern Meridian history. To lose one to a pre-interstellar species was incomprehensible. How? Vexnall's voice carried a dangerous edge. They were prepared for us, Fraxa replied, her voice nearly inaudible. The humans had technology specifically designed to counter our biological systems. They targeted neural pathways in the ship's living components with precision. Impossible. Vexnall's mandibles clacked violently. They are primitives. They have no interstellar capability. And yet, Fraxa gestured to the tactical display where human submersibles methodically salvaged the wreckage. They knew exactly where to strike. Vexnall's compound eyes narrowed. Deploy the 7th Fleet. I want that planet reduced to ash. The Meridian 7th Fleet represented overwhelming force. 30 warships, each capable of sterilizing a continent. They emerged from subspace in perfect formation, a wall of biomechanical destruction poised to descend upon Earth. But Earth was waiting. As the fleet approached lunar orbit, they detected nothing unusual. Human satellites observed them, but these were dismissed as primitive observation platforms easily neutralized. The Meridian Battle Coordination System calculated a 99.97% probability of total victory. Then, as the fleet entered optimal attack formation, numerous small objects emerged from behind Earth's moon. The Meridian sensors classified them as simple satellites or debris, not worth targeting. This was their second grave mistake. These objects were advanced stealth platforms, each housing technology the humans shouldn't have possessed for centuries. They didn't attack the Meridian ships directly. Instead, they created localized fields that disrupted the precisely calibrated communication between the organic and mechanical components of the Meridian vessels. Suddenly blind, and with their neural networks in disarray, the Meridian fleet found itself under attack from all directions. Human ships, small, agile, and built for close combat, swarmed the larger Meridian vessels. Their technology was indeed inferior, but their tactics were unlike anything the Meridians had encountered in millennia of conquest. The humans didn't fight to win by overwhelming force. They fought to disable, to adapt, to exploit weaknesses. They used decoys, electronic warfare, and precision strikes targeting the neural clusters that acted as the ship's brains. Most surprisingly, specialized human strike teams boarded the Meridian command vessels, targeting not the weapons systems, but the biological data repositories. When the battle ended, 17 Meridian warships had been destroyed or disabled. The remainder retreated, their commanders unwilling to continue against an enemy that defied all strategic logic. In the aftermath, the Meridian Intelligence Division made a discovery that sent shockwaves through the collective's leadership. Humans had been aware of the Meridians for decades. They had recovered not just one but several scout ships that had crashed on their planet. They had captured Meridian crew members and studied their biology and technology. While the collective had been dismissing Earth as just another conquest waiting to happen, humanity had been preparing for war. High Commander Vex now stood before the Supreme Conclave, the 12 eldest and most powerful Meridians who governed the collective. His proud posture was now rigid with tension as the ancient leaders regarded him with cold, calculating compound eyes. "You have failed," stated First Elder Zanvox, her ancient voice resonating with disapproval. "They were prepared for us," Vexnall replied, careful to keep any hint of excuse from his tone. "They have been studying our technology, our tactics. They know things they should not know." "Explain," demanded Third Elder Krizax. "We believe they have had access to Meridian technology for at least 70 of their years. Scout ships crashed or shot down over their planet have provided them with examples of our technology. They have adapted with remarkable speed." "That is impossible," Second Elder Moxall said. "No species makes such leaps in understanding without guidance." Eighth Elder Paxtur, known for his study of subjugated species, leaned forward. "Perhaps we have been too dismissive of these humans. What do we know of them?" Vexenol activated a holographic display. Images of human civilization, cities, armies, technology, floated before the conclave. They are adaptable beyond any species we have encountered, he explained. Their history is one of constant warfare, not against external threats but against themselves. They have been honing their skills at killing each other for millennia. Their technological progress in the last century of their time has outpaced anything we've observed in other species. A curiosity, mused Paxtor, but hardly a threat to the collective. With respect, Elder, Vexenol replied, I believe they represent the greatest threat the collective has faced in 5,000 years. They learn from defeat. They adapt. They improvise. And most concerning, they have united their planet against us. The chamber fell silent as the elders absorbed this information. Recommendation? Asked First Elder Zanvox finally. Vexenol straightened. Full invasion protocol. Commit the Grand Fleet. Overwhelm them with such force that adaptation becomes impossible. The elders conferred silently through their neural link. After several moments, Zanvox spoke again. Denied. Vexenol's antennae stiffened in shock. First Elder. These humans intrigue us, Zanvox explained. They have done what no species has accomplished in 15,000 years. They have surprised us. Before we eradicate them, we will study them. Understand their adaptability. Perhaps there is something useful to be harvested from their genetics or their cognitive patterns. And if they continue to resist, then Zanvox's mandibles clicked with finality. We will commit not just the Grand Fleet but the World Breakers. If these humans wish to challenge the collective, they will learn why we have ruled unopposed for 15 millennia. As the meeting concluded, none of the Meridian leaders noticed the small maintenance drone quietly observing from a corner of the chamber, a drone whose neural pathways had been subtly reprogrammed by human design nanites, transmitting everything back to Earth through quantum entanglement communications that the Meridians thought impossible for humans to possess. The game had just begun. First Contact Protocol. Captain Maya Chen stood in the underground command center beneath the Rocky Mountains, her eyes fixed on the massive holographic display showing the retreating Meridian fleet. At 42, she had spent half her life preparing for this moment. First as an astrophysicist studying the crashed Meridian scout ship discovered in Antarctica, then as the military liaison to the Sentinel program, humanity's secret defense initiative against extraterrestrial threats. They're regrouping beyond lunar orbit, reported Lieutenant Commander Jackson, his fingers dancing across the neural interface console. Technology reverse-engineered from Meridian systems. Quantum signatures suggest they're preparing for faster-than-light communication with their command structure. Maya nodded, her expression grim. And our listening post. Dr. Eliza Okafor, head of the Xenolinguistics Division, looked up from her station. The infiltration drone is functioning perfectly. Translation matrices are processing their communication patterns in real time. Her Nigerian accent became more pronounced as excitement raised her voice. Maya, we're hearing their leadership council directly. This is unprecedented data collection. What are they saying? Asked General William Hayes, the weathered veteran who oversaw global military coordination for the Sentinel program. Eliza adjusted her neural interface headset. They're confused, angry, but also curious. They're calling us adaptable beyond expectation. They're debating whether to commit something called the Grand Fleet or to study us first. Maya turned to the assembled leadership of humanity's defense. 12 men and women representing a global coalition formed in secret 70 years ago when the first Meridian scout ship crashed in the Antarctic. We've surprised them, but this is just the beginning. They'll be back, and in greater numbers. The nanite countermeasures worked better than expected, said Dr. Hiroshi Tanaka, head of the Reverse Engineering Division. The elderly Japanese scientist had dedicated his life to understanding Meridian technology. Our targeted attacks against their neural clusters cause cascading failures throughout their biological systems, but they'll adapt their defensive protocols. "How long do we have?" asked President Elaine Rodriguez, joining the conversation via secure holographic link from a bunker beneath Washington, D.C. Based on their communications, Eliza replied, "They're waiting for instructions from their central leadership, something they call the Supreme Conclave. Their nearest major military installation appears to be 3 light-years away. At their FTL capabilities, we estimate 2 to 3 weeks before a larger force arrives." The president's hologram nodded grimly. "Then we proceed with Phase 2 as planned." She looked directly at Maya. "Captain Chen, you have operational authority. The fate of our species rests in your hands." Maya felt the weight of those words but showed no hesitation. "We'll be ready, Madam President." As the meeting dispersed, Maya remained at the command center with Dr. Tanaka and General Hayes. "Will it work?" Hayes asked bluntly, his voice low enough that only the 3 of them could hear. Maya exchanged glances with Tanaka before responding. "The Icarus Protocol is our best chance. High risk, but potentially decisive. Sending a team directly to their territory." Hayes shook his head, "Using their own technology against them. We've been preparing for this since the Roswell incident in 1947. Tanaka reminded him. "The ship we recovered there wasn't the first, and it wasn't Meridian. It was from the Arcturians, fleeing Meridian expansion. They warned us this day would come." Maya nodded, "And they gave us the tools to fight back." "Speaking of tools," Hayes said, "how's Project Prometheus coming along?" "Dr. Singh reports it's operational," Maya replied. "The integration of Arcturian phase shift technology with our own AI networks has created something unprecedented. If the Meridians commit their full force, Prometheus may be our last line of defense." Across the Atlantic, in a heavily fortified facility beneath the Swiss Alps, Dr. Amara Singh watched as the final connections were made to the quantum core of the Prometheus system. The massive spherical chamber hummed with energy as technicians carefully monitored the integration of human-designed artificial intelligence with Arcturian phase shift technology. "System checks complete," announced her assistant, Dr. Klaus Weber. "Neural pathways stable. Quantum entanglement at 99.7% efficiency." Amara took a deep breath. "Initiate consciousness protocols." The room darkened momentarily as power redirected to the central core. Then, a soft blue glow emanated from the sphere, pulsing gently like a heartbeat. "Hello, Prometheus," Amara said, her voice steady despite her racing heart. A voice replied, neither male nor female, neither synthetic nor natural, but something entirely new. "Hello, Dr. Singh. I am operational. I understand my purpose." "And what is that purpose?" "To protect humanity from extinction. To analyze Meridian technology and biology. To find their weaknesses and exploit them. To ensure the survival of Earth." Amara nodded. "And your ethical constraints?" "I will not harm humans. I will not allow humans to be harmed through action or inaction. I will preserve human autonomy and freedom. I will not replace humanity but serve as its shield." "Good," Amara said softly. "We're going to need you very soon." Back in Colorado, Maya Chen entered her private quarters for the first time in 48 hours. Exhaustion pulled at her, but sleep would have to wait. She activated her secure terminal and began recording a message. "Icarus team, this is Captain Chen. The countdown has begun. In 72 hours, you will embark on humanity's most daring mission. Using the repaired and modified Meridian scout ship, you will travel to the edge of their territory, make contact with the resistance movement among their subjugated species, and deploy the quantum disruptors at the coordinates provided." She paused, considering her words carefully. "We have one advantage the Meridians don't understand. We know we're not alone in opposing them. The Arcturians sacrificed much to warn us. The Proxians and Tausetians have provided intelligence. Even among the Meridians themselves, there are those who question the collective's methods. Your mission is not just military, it's diplomatic. Show the galaxy that humanity doesn't seek to replace one tyranny with another. We fight not just for our survival, but for a new kind of interstellar community, one built on cooperation rather than subjugation. She ended the recording and sent it through the quantum-encrypted channel to the secret facility in the Mojave Desert, where the Icarus team was making final preparations. Then, she allowed herself to collapse onto her bed, knowing that when she woke, humanity's destiny would hang in the balance. Across the solar system, aboard the Eternal Dominion, High Commander Vex Nal received the Supreme Conclave's final decision. The humans would be studied before being conquered, probes would be sent, specimens collected, their unusual adaptability analyzed. But as Vex Nal prepared to issue the orders, warning alarms blared throughout the ship. Strategic Overseer Thraxa rushed onto the command platform, her exoskeleton paling with distress. "High Commander, we've detected a quantum anomaly near Mars." "Specify," Vex Nal demanded. It's one of our own scout ships, but it's been modified, and it's preparing to activate its phase drive within the system." Vex Nal's compound eyes widened in shock. Impossible. The humans couldn't have repaired a scout ship, let alone modified it for phase travel. "The readings are conclusive," Thraxa insisted. "And there's more. We're detecting human life signs aboard." For the first time in his 300-year life, Vex Nal felt something he had never experienced before. Fear. These humans weren't just defending their world. They were taking the fight directly to the collective. "All vessels," he commanded, "intercept that ship at any cost." But it was too late. In a flash of quantum displacement, the modified scout ship, now named Icarus by its human crew, vanished into phase space, bound for the heart of Meridian territory. The game had changed, and humanity had just made the opening move. The Knowledge Seekers. The Icarus slipped through phase space like a ghost through fog, its modified engines harnessing principles of quantum mechanics that humanity had only begun to understand 70 years ago, when the first alien ship crashed on Earth. Commander Layla Nazari stood on the bridge, watching the swirling patterns of subspace through the main view screen. At 36, Layla was one of the Sentinel program's most decorated operatives, a former Iranian Special Forces officer recruited after she discovered and protected a downed Arcturian escape pod in the mountains near Tehran. Her unique combination of military training and diplomatic skill made her the ideal leader for humanity's first mission beyond the solar system. "Phase integrity holding at 92%, reported Lieutenant Raj Patel from the engineering station. "The Meridian bioneural pathways are accepting our modifications better than expected." "Any sign of pursuit?" Layla asked, turning to their tactical officer, Major Thomas Chen, Captain Maya Chen's younger brother. "Nothing definitive," Thomas replied, studying the quantum wake detector they'd adapted from Arcturian designs. "But there's unusual phase disturbance approximately 2 light hours behind us. Could be natural phenomena. Could be Meridian scouts." Dr. Elena Volkov, their xenobiologist and the mission's chief science officer, looked up from her station. "The ship itself seems agitated. The bioneural pathways are showing increased synaptic activity." This was the strangest aspect of their mission. They were traveling in a living ship, a biomechanical entity that was part machine, part genetically engineered organism. The Icarus had been salvaged from Antarctica, where a Meridian scout vessel had crashed in 1952. For decades, human scientists had studied it, gradually learning its secrets and eventually restoring it to functionality. Its senses were heading toward its homeworld, explained Dr. Ahmed Nasser, their xenotechnology specialist. The Egyptian scientist had spent 20 years studying Meridian technology. The biological components have some form of genetic memory. They recognize Meridian space. Layla nodded. "Keep monitoring. If the ship's biology starts resisting our control, implement the neural dampening protocols." She turned to the final member of their bridge crew, Dr. Sofia Garcia, their communication specialist and xenolinguist. "Any response to our encoded transmission?" Sophia adjusted her neural interface. a sleek headset that allowed direct communication with the ship's systems. Nothing yet, but we're still at the edge of the range for quantum entanglement communication. If the Resistance received our message, we should know within 12 hours. Layla surveyed her team, 6 experts on the bridge, with 14 more specialists in various sections of the ship. 20 humans venturing where none had gone before, carrying with them the hopes of their entire species. "We all know the stakes," she said, her voice steady. "In approximately 48 hours, we'll reach the Tav Ceti system, the first staging area where we're scheduled to rendezvous with Proxian resistance forces. Until then, maintain full stealth protocols. Remember, according to the intelligence provided by the Arcturians, the Proxians have been fighting Meridian occupation for over 3 centuries. They're allies, but cautious ones." As the crew returned to their duties, Layla retreated to the captain's quarters, a small chamber that still bore the alien ergonomics of its original Meridian occupant, modified as best they could for human comfort. There, she reviewed the mission parameters once more. Their objectives were threefold. First, establish contact with the interspecies resistance network that had been fighting the Meridian Collective for centuries. Second, deploy quantum disruptors at 3 key strategic locations within Meridian space, devices designed to interfere with the Collective's neural network on a massive scale. And third, gather as much intelligence as possible about Meridian biology, technology, and social structure to aid Earth's defense. The mission was high-risk, potentially suicidal. But after the Meridian attack on Earth, humanity understood they couldn't just play defense. The Collective would keep coming until Earth was conquered or destroyed. The only option was to take the fight to them, to show that humans were unlike any species they had encountered before. A gentle chime interrupted Layla's thoughts. The ship's communication system activated, and Sophia's voice came through. "Commander, we're receiving a transmission on the quantum frequency provided by the Arcturians." Layla's pulse quickened. "Put it through to my quarters." The air before her shimmered, and a holographic image formed, a being unlike any she had seen before. It had a vaguely humanoid shape, but with 4 arms, and a head that seemed too large for its body. Its skin was a mottled blue-gray, and compound eyes similar to those of Earth insects dominated its face. "I am Zixnar of the Proxian Resistance," the being said, its words translated by the ship's systems. "We received your transmission. Verification codes authenticate. Is this truly a vessel crewed by humans?" "It is," Layla confirmed. "I am Commander Layla Nazari of Earth. We come seeking alliance against our common enemy." The alien's compound eyes shifted, focusing and refocusing. An expression of surprise, perhaps. "The Arcturians spoke of your species, but many doubted. A pre-FTL civilization, taking the fight directly to the Collective. Unprecedented. Humanity has a habit of doing the unprecedented," Layla replied with a slight smile. "We have technology and tactics that may prove valuable to the Resistance, and we bring a weapon that could significantly disrupt Meridian command and control systems." "Intriguing," Zixnar said. "But be warned, you are being pursued. Our long-range sensors detect 3 Meridian hunter ships following your phase trail. They are approximately 14 of your hours behind you." Layla maintained her composure despite the surge of alarm. "Can we reach the rendezvous point before they intercept us?" "Possibly. We're transmitting modified route coordinates now. Follow them precisely. They will lead you through a region of space where phase disruptions will mask your trail." The Proxian paused. "If you truly are what you claim, humans may be the catalyst we have awaited. The Collective has ruled for too long." The transmission ended, and new navigation data appeared on Layla's screen. She immediately forwarded it to the bridge. "Thomas, adjust our course to these new coordinates. Raj, I need maximum phase efficiency. Push the bioneural systems as hard as you safely can." "Acknowledged," came the responses. As the Icarus altered course, diving deeper into uncharted phase space, Layla couldn't help but reflect on the journey that had brought humanity to this point. It had begun in 1947 with the Roswell incident, not a Meridian craft, but an Arcturian scout ship fleeing Meridian expansion. The Arcturians had come with a warning. A vast interstellar empire was spreading through the galaxy, subjugating all in its path. Earth lay directly in their expansion route. Most world governments had dismissed the warning as the ravings of a dying alien. But a small group of scientists, military personnel, and government officials had believed. They formed the nucleus of what would become the Sentinel program, a secret international effort to prepare Earth for the coming invasion. Over the decades that followed, more ships had crashed or been shot down over Earth, some Meridian scouts, others from species fleeing Meridian conquest. Each wreck provided new technology, new insights into the threat humanity faced. In underground facilities around the world, scientists worked tirelessly to understand and adapt this alien technology. By the early 1990s, humanity had recovered enough Meridian technology to begin developing countermeasures. By 2010, they had quantum communication systems and the beginnings of bioneural interfaces. By 2020, the first human-piloted craft using modified alien propulsion systems were being tested in the outer solar system. All in secret, all in preparation for the day the Meridians would discover Earth. And now, here they were, 20 humans in a stolen, modified alien ship, pushing deep into enemy territory in a desperate gambit to save their world. "Commander," Thomas's voice broke into her thoughts. "You should come to the bridge. There's something you need to see." Moments later, Layla stood before the main view screen, staring at an astronomical anomaly, unlike anything in Earth's records. A massive structure orbited a red giant star, a ring-shaped megastructure that appeared to be partly constructed, partly grown, with organic-looking extensions reaching toward the star itself. "What am I looking at?" she asked softly. Dr. Volkov answered, her voice hushed with awe. "Based on Arcturian records, this appears to be a Meridian harvester, a biomechanical structure designed to extract energy and matter directly from a star, accelerating its life cycle to produce specific heavy elements." "They're killing the star," Thomas said flatly. "Not just killing it, farming it," Alina corrected. "This is how they obtain the exotic materials needed for their most advanced technology. They cultivate stars like crops, harvesting them at specific points in their life cycle." Layla felt a chill run through her. The scale of the operation, the sheer audacity of manipulating stellar evolution, spoke to a level of technological advancement far beyond even what they had prepared for. "How many of these harvesters do they have?" she asked. "According to Arcturian data, at least one in every major system under their control," Ond replied. "Hundreds, perhaps thousands, and we're supposed to fight that," Thomas muttered. Layla's eyes remained fixed on the colossal structure. "We're not fighting their technology, Major Chen. We're fighting their certainty, their absolute conviction that they cannot be challenged. That's their greatest weakness." "Commander," Sophia interrupted urgently, "I'm receiving new transmission from the Proxian contact. Emergency priority." "Put it through." Zixanar's image appeared again, but this time the alien's posture conveyed clear agitation. "Human vessel, you must alter course immediately. The hunter ships pursuing you have deployed quantum resonators. They're scanning phase space systematically and will detect you within 2 hours at your current trajectory." "Options?" Layla demanded. "There is only one," the Proxian replied grimly. "You must exit phase space and go to silent running in real space. There is a planetary system on your current path. The 4th planet has a dense atmosphere that will mask your energy signature if you power down to minimal levels." "We'll be stranded," Thomas pointed out. "Temporarily," Zixanar acknowledged. "We will dispatch a cloaked vessel to retrieve you, but it cannot arrive for at least 26 of your hours." Layla didn't hesitate. "Transmit the coordinates. We'll make for the planet immediately." As the transmission ended, she turned to her crew. "Prepare for emergency phase exit. all non-essential systems to be powered down the moment we reach real space. This is what we trained for, people. The Icarus lurched as it transitioned from phase space to normal space-time, emerging in a star system dominated by a yellow-white star. Ahead lay a gas giant with swirling storms visible even at this distance. Fold stealth protocols, Layla ordered. Minimal life support. All communications silent except for emergency quantum receiver. Let's make ourselves invisible. As the ship descended into the gas giant's turbulent atmosphere, the lights dimmed to emergency levels. The constant hum of the engines faded to near silence. In the eerie quiet that followed, the crew could feel the tension mounting. They were deep in enemy territory, being hunted by forces they barely understood, with only the promise of aid from aliens they had just met to sustain them. And back on Earth, billions of humans waited, unaware that their fate might rest with this small crew and their desperate mission into the heart of an empire that had never known defeat.